Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. This one we're looking at the captaincy model for Game Week 13. Before we get into those Game Week 13 numbers, we'll have a brief look at how the model got in Game Week 12. It wasn't great. Probably the worst game week of the season for the model. Only 4 players returned. So let's get into that. Salah, he was top. There wasn't much in it between Salah and Haaland, to be fair, but actual points-wise, obviously a massive difference. Salah obviously just keeps hauls upon hauls from Salah, which is brilliant for those that moved from Haaland to Salah recently. But Haaland has been very disappointing. Palmer also a disappointing blank in what was quite an easy fixture. Minutes-wise, I did have a look at all of what minutes the players got from this list. The only players that actually come off were, I think Saka came off in around the 83rd minute, so that's why Saka will never be up there with Salah and Haaland on the 88s and like Fernandes and Bomo. He has got an early sub in him, especially if Arsenal are winning, then there is some chance that he can come off around the 80, 82 minutes, so yeah, that's why he's sitting at 84. He'll never be as high as 88. Not unless we see consistent 90s. And then also Gordon. Gordon came off at like the 70th, 68th minute, something like that, which was a bit of a weird one. But again, his minutes are slightly unpredictable. I think Odegaard also came off in the 80-ish minutes, maybe 82. Everyone else played 90, so having them around 88 minutes-ish seems fine, to be honest. But yeah, obviously Saka also got 13 points, and then the only other players to get any points were Odegaard and Watkins. Everyone else, I mean, the Newcastle game with Gordon, Isak was disappointing, very disappointing. Fernandes had a great fixture, so again, that one was a bit disappointing as well. But anyway, the more exciting part is the Game Week 13 numbers, so we'll get into those where there is a lot of different options for this week, so let's get into it. Okay, so the Game Week 13 numbers are now on screen, and as you can see, Haaland is 10th. I mean, admittedly, this probably is the toughest fixture of the season for City, and it's probably the worst City have been in quite a while, so it's not surprising that he is quite far down the list. One thing I will mention is that the whole of this list is lower in terms of expected points than most weeks. Most weeks we see somebody in the 6 point something, so it's usually Salah or Haaland, to be honest, but we usually see them in the 6 point somethings, and also we don't usually see number 10 as low as 4.5 either, so it's all quite low scoring. It's all very bunched up as well. Between the top 3 there's not a lot, so Palmer's top with Aston Villa at home, 5.87, and then only 0.13 below him is Mbomo with Leicester at home. Unbelievable fixture, especially as now Leicester have just sacked Steve Cooper as well, so that could be good or bad for that fixture, who knows. But Brentford, when they play at home, just score so many goals. Saka is then 0.02 behind Mbomo with 5.73. Again, what looked like an unbelievable fixture, West Ham away. Although West Ham did play really well against Newcastle on Monday night, so maybe that fixture isn't quite as good as we thought it was. Salah is in 4th with Man City at home. That fixture looks slightly better than it did a few weeks ago now. City just aren't at it right now, so that fixture doesn't look too bad. And obviously Salah is further ahead of Haaland, a lot because it's a home fixture, but also because of the form of the team as well. So he's a whole point, 1.07 ahead of Haaland, which is interesting. Then there's Son. I do struggle to put the expected minutes for Son. He's played 90 minutes against Ipswich. I do believe that is because they were losing that game. I think if they were winning that game, he comes off around 75, something like that. So for now, I really can't be putting him up at 88 with the likes of Salah, Fernandes, Palmer and Bomo. I just can't put him up there. If he did have 88 minutes, he might be slightly higher. He might be closer to Fernandes. He might be just above Fernandes, but he certainly wouldn't be up there with Palmer, because the Fulham at home fixture just isn't quite as good. And Spurs tend to share their goal involvements a bit more than Chelsea do. So yeah, we've actually got 3 Spurs players in a row there. So it's Son, then it's Porro, and then very, very closely behind Porro is Solanke. Now, Porro and Solanke have great minutes. Solanke especially, he quite often will play 90 minutes. So that's why he's quite high. As I've previously mentioned in other videos of this captaincy model, it does seem to undercook numbers for forwards quite a lot. Now, obviously, you'll say, yeah, that's expected because they get less points for a goal. They don't get a clean sheet point like the mids do, but that should be built into it. So, yeah, I have looked into it. There's nothing wrong with the forwards and the way that it's being calculated, but it does just make forwards slightly lower in the list. But that's fine. I mean, it hasn't been a problem before. Isak's been very high before. Haaland has been top multiple times, of course. But yeah, then we got Odegaard at 9th. He is seemingly back fit and fine. He played 90 minutes and then played 82-ish minutes the other day as well. So he is back amongst it. He'll always be pretty high just because, one, he is a player who has quite reliable minutes in that Arsenal team. Obviously, Saka will always be ahead of him, mainly because of penalties, but also because Saka's just such a threat. But yeah, also Odegaard's minutes will always be better than the left winger, for example, whether it be Martinelli or Trossard. Odegaard's minutes will always be better. There is a small chance that Odegaard takes penalties as well. We've seen that Saka has given a penalty away before to Odegaard, so that is probably baked in a little bit to the number. And also, he's a midfielder rather than someone like Havertz, who was quite high but not top 10. Odegaard gets the extra point for a goal and a clean sheet point because he's a midfielder rather than Havertz. So Odegaard will typically be the second player from Arsenal in these lists when he's fit. So that, again, that's what we see here. And then Haaland obviously 10th. That is I'm pretty sure that's the lowest we'll see Haaland on this captaincy model, potentially for the rest of the season. It's not often he'll be that low. And actually, he was very, very close to 11th, to be honest. 11th was Marcus Rashford, I believe, who wasn't even on many minutes. He was on... His minutes were in the 60s or 70s, but the fixture's so good, as you can see from Fernandes there, Everton at home, that even with limited minutes, Rashford was quite high up. And I think Rashford was only like 0.02 behind Haaland, which sounds stupid to even say right now that Rashford is close to Haaland, but obviously it's a fixture thing. But yeah, that's where this week is. I do believe this is quite a good week to go slightly different with captaincy. Obviously, the top 3 are very, very good options. I mean, Fernandes is a pretty good option as well. There's loads of good options this week. I do think you can go a bit different this week. There isn't one standout. So yeah, Palmer and Mbeumo, the top 2, with Saka very closely behind, and then Salah, Fernandes. But that's all for this week. Let me know if you think I've got any of the expected minutes wrong, because I will always update them each week, so do let me know. But that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one.